Welcome back to the workshop, everybody. So glad you could be with me here today. Walter here at the workbench. So, remember this plane? No jointer, no problem. Built this one to show you all that even if you don't have crosspin knowledge and wood wedge construction or special blades, you could take your plain blade and chip breaker out of a standard plane, the lever cap, put one screw in, glue up the cheeks to a body, and make yourself a plane of any length. I chose the jointer, but that's only because that was the topic. No jointer, no problem. And then we made this little Japanese style plane that I use predominantly to take the corners off the work. Take those sharp corners off. I guess if you were doing smaller work, pieces of wood that are smaller than the blade, you could use it Japanese style, you could use it Western style. Now I also use my jack plane to move a lot of wood quickly. I have it set a little thicker. The opening is a little thicker. I made this out of a single iron, single blade. It's an old Stanley block plane blade, and some scraps of white oak and hard maple from the shop. So that's my jack plane. My smoother is the same style, almost the same dimensions. It's just that the opening for the blade to the mouth is tighter. The nice thing about single plane blades in planes, single iron planes, is how fast you can take the blade out, sharpen it, pop it back in. It's not like one with a chip breaker that you need to back out. Then we went ahead and made the East meets West Japanese style plane that can be used on the pull stroke, but I'm showing it here on the push because if you want to make your own smoothing plane, you would get yourself the blade and chip breaker set, and you can make it shorter. It would be about that big. And that'd be a little block smoothing plane. The really nice thing about making planes for specific tasks for your workshop is you can make them as simple or as fancy as you would like. If you have any questions about how I built the jointer or how I made this plane, go back in the video archives and watch the related videos. Now, what if you don't have the money for a Hawk blade set? What if you don't have a small block plane blade? What if you can't make your own steel? Well, sometimes you can find old sets. This would be a set that would have come from like a coffin smoother. They make them like that for these big old jointers too. Sometimes you find these old planes at flea markets or rummage sales. Someplace you find these big old planes, but the body is pretty bad. Sometimes you find just the blades, and you look at that. I ground that bevel on there to restore it, and you see the two colors? See the two colors? That means that the top 1/16 of an inch is hard steel and the lower section is a softer steel. That's called a laminated blade. I can make a body for this. Put this in and I have either a smoother, I could have a jack, I could even make similar to the joiner. So there's a wide open realm when it comes to making your own hand planes. So for those of you who always say, but Walter, you always just plane edge grain. Well, we'll lay this board down. We'll plane some face grain. First up, east meets west. Finely set. Taking smoothing cuts. If I'm going to do smoothing work, I don't necessarily need a shaving from end to end. Okay? Smooth that board right out. But this is my other smoother. I like this one for wood that behaves well, likes to play well with others. Wow. That is so smooth and polished. No plane tracks. There's a little something right here. I think the wood is reversing a little there. So there you go. Smooth surface, no plane tracks, burnished, ready for some finish. And then when the finish dries, the first coat, then you can come back and use fine sandpaper and give it a light once over before you put your second coat of finish on. I don't like sanding wood if I can help it. I prefer planing. And always remember to break those corners. Don't leave those corners sharp. There's a lot of reasons for that. You want to go with the grain though. You want to go with the grain. Sometimes it's hard to tell. You break those corners, and then when it comes time to do your finishing, the finish goes over to the edge, and then you can have it cover that corner, as opposed to a sharp corner where the finish will go over and then bead up. And if it beads up too much, it'll go over and then run. So you always knock your corners off just ever so slightly. So that's it for today. I will leave you with no jointer, no problem. Remember I told you, you could build this, if you get to a job site and you have to have a joiner, and you set a few minutes aside in the morning, you lay out the body. You could even do it with a 2x4. Lay out the body, glue it up. By lunchtime, you got yourself a joiner. You can get the task done. And if you don't want to drag it home, you take your blade out, you take the screw out, and leave it behind. Look at that. Man, oh man, oh man, I tell you, the most important thing in everything we do is to have fun. And I feel making your own planes is fun, but boy, using them is even so much more fun. So that's about it for today. If you found something helpful, useful, entertaining, give it the old thumbs up and head out to your shop. Go make some planes. And then go make some shavings. Walter out.